Hey guys, uh, today is August 3rd, and we're up here at Coyote Camp. And last night was our second night up here, and I'm going to do something a little different. I am going to hand it over to Chris and let Chris tell you what we got to experience last night. So, without further ado,
I guess I should open this by saying, "Hi, Kathy." The smoking squatchers. Uh-oh. Um, you know, where do you even begin with this? I mean, our first night out was interesting, kind of quiet, not like last night. Last night was, you know, Kevin and I were talking earlier, and usually when we go out together, a lot of there's always something unique or different or I mean, I guess extraordinary, and last night was really pretty extraordinary, actually. I mean, as the night as it got dark, we started to get things that we're familiar with and common things that we've seen, which is, the manifestation of the twinkle light effect and the residual energy that kind of seems to either herald um, their presence or, quite honestly, we really don't really know exactly what it is. It's just something that seems to occur when they're around. And that happened, which I guess in this spot, this is the first time I've ever sat out here. I've been here because it's close by to one of our other locations multiple times, but I never spent the night here. So this was a different vibe, a different scene. And I'll preface this by saying all these places have an energy signature. That's how I perceive it, as different than the other. Each one has a unique vibe to it. I think Kevin kind of feels the same way. Like I would say that like Crazy Town has a almost like a mischievous vibe to it, and I would think that Squatch Camp has more of it feels like a sacred vibe there, like heavy. Hilltop and this place are similar. It's a strong, almost mystical, but a lighter feeling here, I think, and also over at Hilltop as well. And that was what was going on last night. We Kevin and I have found that there's oftentimes before a good night, a lot of times a mist will roll in, which has happened, and many times when that mist has rolled in, some really really extraordinary things have happened, and that happened last night. We didn't have rain, but the mist came in. It wasn't super thick, but it was pretty. It was heavy enough that it affected the ambiance of the area, and you know, some different things started to happen. We had some visitation. One of the interesting things was we had a semi-cloaked figure off to our right over here, right behind and to the right of this big tree here, and we both got. So we started to address the being and asked it. One of the questions we asked was, "Can you tell us how many of you are here this evening?" And I got an answer, and Kevin did as well. But it was obviously wasn't vocalized. It was a mind speak thing. And I said, "Kev, wait." I said, "Don't even answer. Do it at the count of three and say the same number that I said." And I said 3, 2, 1, and we both blurted out 7, like simultaneously. So that was cool. Not that we need much validation with that, but when it happens or when we get it, I appreciate that. Because sometimes when that occurs, it's not always. It's hard to second guess what's going on sometimes. And that was kind of a confirmation and affirmation for me, personally. I would say that the coolest thing and the weirdest thing, weird because it was weird, that happened was probably about 40 yards in front of us. There's from our perspective, it looks like two twin like ponderosa or smaller pine goalposts that that behind that it recedes into a more shadowy area.
yeah, just real quick, it was back off in over here. We were sitting a little farther back behind Chris, but where he's referring to would be straight back this direction.
Yeah. So anyway, um, I'm watching some shadowy phenomenon occurring in between these two pines, and Kevin's attention was drawn there too. And then Kevin, as I'm looking at something, I'm watching something kind of coalesce into something a little bit more solid. And like I said, it was black behind this thing, but it was very bright. The moon was almost yesterday was a super moon the day before, and so there was still a heavy moon. It was pretty light at this point. And Kevin says, "Do you see that?" And I looked, and I asked him to. I know exactly what I saw. This was easily, because we measured it out today, over a 12-foot being standing next to the right side of the right hand post to these two goalposts, for lack of a better term, and just a thinner entity. I believe it was a Sasquatch, standing like in like a pose like this, leaning against it, looking at, and I could see the full outline, head, arms. Um, it almost looked like a white version of one of those kind of silhouettes that you see for sale that people put up on the side of their barns or in their yards. That's what it looked like. It was massive and huge and not intimidating, but it was pretty powerful presence. And Kevin got up and walked towards it. And as he walked towards it, I watched it kind of back up and recede into, like I said, it was really, really black behind it, and it disappeared from my view. And then Kevin walked in past where I couldn't see him into that dark spot and came out, and he was shaking and not in fear, absolutely freezing. And it was a very mild evening up here on the rim last night. I don't think the temperatures didn't drop below 65, 64 last night. It was beautiful, t-shirt weather. And so Kevin said, "Go back there." And I mean, Kevin was shaking, and so I got up and I kind of not say that I wasn't a little. It's intimidating sometimes when you just kind of take the leap to do some of this stuff, and for me it is. And I walked back through the goalpost, and I didn't see anything because to me it was pitch black, especially when I walked in between those two. And it was like I walked into a meat locker. I mean, it went from 65 degrees to 30 degrees. And that's not an exaggeration. It was a 40-degree at least temperature swing. And it shot right through to my bones. I turned around and I scurried out of there. And I said, "You know what? I'm done. I'm going to a sleeping bag. I'm freezing. I've had enough." And so I experienced exactly what Kev did. It was really, it was something we've had them uh, change our core temps multiple times. Um, I laugh sometimes with Chuck. Chuck gets cold, and the first thing that comes to his mind is, I think they're making me cold, and I think sometimes they do. But this time it was not them making us cold. The actual atmosphere shifted in that one area to such an extravagant degree that it was really mind-boggling. It was something new that I'd never seen or experienced before, and I've been around for a minute. I've seen a lot of this stuff, so it was pretty cool. And that was kind of the gist of my night. We did have a little bit of light communication. Um, we got a confirmation on a name, somebody that I wasn't aware of but was already in the list, and the name that I mentioned that they told me they were, which is a rarin, I believe,
Mm-hmm.
which I wasn't aware of that was already in. Chuck's got a list of every one of these creatures that's decided to reveal what we can call them, and that was a name, and that was on the list, so that was pretty cool. I appreciate when those things happen. I appreciate the interaction, and I really appreciate the communication. It's a very unique thing, and so again, uh, the rim never disappoints, and being out here with Kev, who I love, is my brother. The other cool thing is we've got two of the other guys over at one of our other spots, and we went high tech this week and brought some two-way radios with us just to try and touch base with, see if any of the things that was going on with us was lining up with them. And they had some activity over there last night. Not to the degree that we did, but they had some interesting things happen. I'm sure Chuck's going to probably make some content and
Yep.
and share that. So we'll let him do that. But like I said, I'm looking forward to tonight. For some reason, Kevin and I have found, not that it probably makes any difference, but Thursday nights for some reason seem to always be interesting. But it'd be pretty tough to top last night. So anyway, love you guys. It's good to be here. It's good to be part of this crew. And peace out, man.
Yep.